Hello and welcome back to my channel, Say Yes to Life. I'm Delisa Renideo, and I'd like to welcome you to my garden here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. Today I'm going to be talking about how important it is to talk with others to get different perspectives. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the parable of the five blind men who were all describing an elephant. They were each just touching different parts of the elephant. And so one person insists, oh, it's a wall, and somebody else thinks it's a tree. And of course, since they can't see it, they're just describing different parts, and it all seems different to each one of them. Well, we all have blind spots, and we all need the perspectives of others to help fill in those gaps, to help us to make better informed choices. So, having other perspectives is really incredibly important for us to make good, informed choices and also to deal with our various emotions that can be hard to deal with. I'm getting lots of perspectives here from the birds here in my garden. But when we're all by ourselves, just hearing our own thoughts and our own voices, we can get into a loop where we just keep covering the same ground over and over. So these other perspectives really, really help us. So one of the things that's so helpful is just hearing our own voice when we're talking to somebody else and explaining the situation. Because hearing our thoughts instead of just feeling them going through ourselves, we can get some insights. This happens in my life on a regular basis, and it's always kind of funny. I'll be talking to my husband, Charlie, and telling him about a situation in my life and wanting to hear his perspectives. And I'll be talking, and then I get to the end and I go, wow, that all makes a lot more sense now. Thanks for helping. And he laughs because he hasn't even had a chance to tell me anything. Just hearing my own voice talking helps me figure it out. And then when he does give me his perspectives, it's always very helpful. It also helps just for us not to feel so alone. There's so many times when our thoughts are going over and over the same situation and we're not getting anywhere, and we can feel very isolated and very alone. So having these other perspectives is just incredibly important and supportive. Now, when I'm suggesting that you do this, I highly recommend we don't give our power away for other people to make our decisions for us. Hearing their perspectives is very important, but it's also very important for us to take all these things into our own minds and hearts and to ponder them and come up with our own choices so that we're empowered by these other voices rather than disempowered. So, who are some of the other voices that we might be able to talk to? Well, of course, there's people that we trust, human beings that we trust. It could be people in our family or good friends. It may be a pastor or a counselor or a coach, just somebody who's a good listener. That can be very helpful. But I also find it helpful just to talk my life through with my pets, with my dogs, my cats, and I'm talking to them all the time. And they're good listeners. They don't give me advice, which is usually helpful, but they're very supportive. And even though this might sound a little strange, we can let nature hold our questions because nature can give us a much different perspective. So, for instance, if you have some concerns about the things that are going on in your busy life right now, and you let a tree hold the questions in your mind, think of the perspective of a tree that has been standing there for a very long time, or perhaps a river flowing by, or perhaps a butterfly, and just find out what would they think about the questions that are in your life. I find journaling to be very helpful as well. And journaling is kind of like just when you hear yourself talk out loud to another person, but you can just talk to your journal instead. All of those things can be very helpful. And then, of course, we all have inner voices. We have this team within ourselves with different points of view. We have a part of us that is the fearful part. We have a part that's the brave part. We have the worried part. We have the calm part. We may have an impulsive part and a more thoughtful part. And since we all have those parts, I thought today I would introduce you to two of the ones that have decided to join me here today. Oh, hello there. And would you like to tell people who you are? Hi, my name's Sparky, and I'm very enthusiastic, and I love to talk. I chatter, 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 chatter all day long. Yes, you do indeed chatter all day long, and you look like a very happy guy. Oh, yes, I have another friend here too. And what is your name? My name is Rocky, and I am a slow poke compared to Sparky over there. I like to take my time and think things through carefully, and I turn my thoughts over and over and over before I make a decision, because I like shiny thoughts. Shiny thoughts? What's a shiny thought, Rocky? Oh, shiny thoughts are the kind that you can turn them over and over and you can see different perspectives. One of my favorite ones is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? I have thought about that for a long time and I never did figure that out. But it's a shiny thought because it makes me happy to think and think and think about it. What did you think of that? Would you ever think about that kind of a thought? Oh, of course not. I would never think of things like that. I like to do things. And the first thing I think of is the thing I do first. Yes, right then. I don't wait and think about it. I might forget. I wouldn't forget. I wouldn't forget because I've thought about things for a long time before I decide. Now, I have both of these voices in me, the impulsive ones and the careful thinker ones. And so sometimes it's helpful for me to hear these two extremes in my two friends here. But now they've both been listening to this conversation I'm having with you on YouTube. So I'm going to see whether this has had any effect on the way they want to make their decisions. So I'd like to hear from both of you. After listening to what I said, how do you like to make your decisions? Oh, I'll tell you how I make my decisions. I do the first thing comes into my head. Sometimes it didn't even come into my head and I just do it. But sometimes it doesn't turn out so good. So maybe I should stop and think about it. Maybe I should even ask somebody what they think of it. But I don't know who would even think about that with me. I'll have to think about that. I don't like to think about things. I just like to do things. Well, Rocky says, I think maybe I should talk to people more. Maybe I should talk. I'm not going to talk to Sparky. He doesn't even have a thought. I think I'll talk to you because you like to talk. And I think you might help me make some of my decisions because I get so caught in turning my thoughts over and over that sometimes I never make a decision. So maybe if I talk to you more, I could make my decisions better. I think I'll give that a try. Well, I'm not sure what they're both going to do, but I do know that both of their voices are in me. And so I'm going to listen and then make my own choice. So I'd like to invite you to listen to your inner team of voices and also the people and the pets and whoever you have in your life that can listen to you, talk with you, and help you sort through things. So I would love it if you would leave a note in the comments about who do you find it helpful to talk with when you're making your decisions. So have fun with this, and I invite you to be like the blind men and get other people's opinions before you make a decision. So, but remember, ultimately, the decisions that we make are all our own. So have fun with this, and I will see you again soon.